this computer. Awesome. So I'm also going to share my screen because I closed the PowerPoint. So it'll just be a second. Go ahead and introduce yourselves while I bring up the PowerPoint, but my name is Jordan. I'm an admissions counselor here, and I work with students in the Twin Cities from St. Paul to the Wisconsin border, and then I'll let Emily and our current students talk as well.
I'm Emily. I work with students in the Twin Cities as well, but I work with students mainly in Minneapolis, west to Hutchinson.
And then if the ambassadors want to say their name, their current year, their major, hometown, and why you chose UWS. Is that enough?
Okay, I'm Miranda Johnson. I'm going to be a junior this fall, majoring in environmental science. I'm originally from Shell Lake, Wisconsin, so about an hour and a half south of here. And to be honest, I kind of impulsively transferred here from another university, but I don't regret it. It's been wonderful here. And they had a great environmental program, so that's wasn't a full impulse transfer, but kind of close.
Okay, I'll go next.
You want to go, Julia?
Can everybody hear me? Okay. I'm Drea Gigliotti. I'm a senior graduating this fall. I'm a double major in biology and environmental science. I'm originally from Antioch, Illinois. Originally, I didn't know where I wanted to go to school, so I kind of just followed my twin sister to UWS, and then I really fell in love with my program and campus, and I've stayed.
I'm Lexi. I am be a junior this fall. I am majoring in elementary education and minoring in special education and history. I am from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. It is 5 hours away from Superior, so I'm closer to the Wisconsin's capital, Madison. I'm about 45 minutes away from there, so I mostly. And why I picked UW Superior, because I'm from a mostly bigger town like Superior, and I like having a smaller campus, smaller school, get to know people. I like having professors know you, get to know other people, a lot easier.
Awesome. Thank you all. So now now that I have it up, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to actually walk through our presentation to get you informed about UW Superior, who we are, and then while we're going through that, we'll be asking the ambassadors questions that pertain to that area. So first off, I wanted to start off with a campus map so you can kind of see what we're about, how the campus looks like, how it's situated. You can see here a majority of our buildings are very close. We do have about 5 blocks down 2 of our residence halls and our hockey arena and baseball field. But pretty much everything that you're going to want and need is right in the main area of campus. And Drea, maybe you want to say how, like, from the longest distance, how long are you walking outside? Are you outside very long?
I would say probably 5 minutes or less. Yeah. Maybe if you're kind of not wanting to get to a building, maybe a little bit longer, but pretty quick.
Yeah, so that's one thing a lot of students talk about in regards to weather, I would say as well. Like, it's cold up there, I'm going to be walking outside, there's no tunnels. You're going to be pretty much outside 5 minutes max if you want to be. So it's nice, but of course we always want to say come visit for yourselves if you can, or if you haven't yet, maybe some of you have and you're just trying to get some more information from the current students here. So it's really nice to see it for yourself, but this is also a nice visual for you to see just how it's laid out. So Emily, oh, you're muted. I love it. I know we're always going to be muted forever and ever.
Some fast facts about our campus. We're the smallest of all the University of Wisconsin schools. So out of 13 four-year campuses, we have about 2,500 students total. Half of our students are going to be first-generation college students, or they're first in their immediate family to attend college. We have almost 50 countries represented on our campus. So we're pretty diverse there. 95% of our graduates are currently employed within their field of study or in grad school within 6 months after they're graduated. Duluth Superior is a pretty unique area, about 130,000 people between the two cities. Superior's on the smaller side with about 25,000 people. And then you go right across the bridge about 10 minutes and you're in Duluth, and that's more of an urban setting.
Clicking. We're clicking. There we go. So academics, we have over 50 programs on our campus that you can choose from, but here you can see some of our largest majors with business, education, Lexi's in education, so she'll be able to talk about that if you're interested, biology, social work, and then some of our unique majors that we're one of the few campuses in the Midwest and even the United States that have some of these programs with aquatic biology, art therapy, transportation and logistics, which is basically if you order something on Amazon, how does it get to you in 2 days? So if you have that A to B mindset and you can problem solve, that's a great program. And then legal studies. So with academics, here we go. We have some questions. So get ready. Here you go. What is the difference between a major and minor? And if you want one of us to take it, we can, but if one of the ambassadors want to go for it.
I guess I can explain that. So your majors, the bulk of the classes you're going to take. Certain majors you're required to have a minor because they're not comprehensive, so you're going to be taking less than 60 credits usually to fulfill it. So a minor's something that's around 25 or less credits, I believe, kind of to build on your major if it's like a science and you want to do like a chemistry minor, or if it's like a different interest you have. I've had friends that have been biology majors and they get like a minor in communications. So a lot of times it kind of complements your major, or it's something to fulfill extra credits you need.
Perfect. Thank you. Next one, this one might be for Lexi. For education, at what point do we do student teaching, and do we have a choice for the school we are put in?
For student teaching, that's mostly be your last thing during your time up here in Superior. And for us to know where we're going, they pick it for us. So mostly, roughly, you can kind of, if you want to pay more to student teach at a school, like say if I want to student teach in my hometown, I have to pay more. But roughly, we don't pick what school we get to. You say what region, area you want, but they pick for you, and then what grade you get. And then mostly you're happy because you get with the students and children and people you want to hang out for your major. And mostly it's like your last senior year. Mostly they'll do student teaching. They'll email you saying this is your time for student teaching. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to get done before you can actually student teach.
Awesome. And this could be for everyone. Is it easy to branch out and try a little bit of everything with classes, or do you have to stick to classes that fit your major?
I think it's pretty easy to kind of reach out. I'm a science major, but I've taken photography. I was a little nervous because when it comes to arts, I can't do nothing. But I've done some classes in the arts, like even communication. I've done a few gym courses. So I haven't done everything. But I know a lot of students who have taken probably a little bit of everything, and you don't just have to take a course required for your major. It's really nice to branch out just to have fun or something. I mean, we've got a few courses on campus that are pretty wild and fun, so I definitely recommend trying something out.
That's great. And how long did it take you to adjust to your college schedule?
I would say couple of days, like your first day, your first week is a little struggle because you're not used to it. Saying like being a freshman, we're so used to being like our high school schedule. This is the time you have to go to school. This is how long I'm here. I have to be at school at this period of time. At college, our classes ain't like boom, boom, boom. We have time between classes unless our classes are after each other, like in high school. But a lot of our classes ain't like that. So you'll have a class, say like at 9 and get done at 10:15, and then your next class won't be until 2. So then you have that time between. That's what the struggle I had between my first year as freshman. I had that time and I didn't know what to do. So I just went back to my res hall room and did homework and then watched YouTube and stuff because what can you do?
Awesome. Any additions from, or is that pretty spot on? Good. Awesome. So then there was one last question about crossover of courses between choral education and instrumental education. I'm actually just going to reach out to the individual to give that because it's very specific and I want to give the program plans. So know that we do have the question and I will just be giving that to you on outside of this. I also wanted to show this because it's kind of nice to know what you're walking into. So Emily said that what our average class size was, but we always like to point out too that that's an average, but you will never be in a class like this on our campus, right? Yeah. So maybe this is good opportunity for you three to say, what was the largest class you had on campus?
For me, my largest class was probably HHP 102 and then Gen Bio 1. Those were fairly big. I think like my Gen Bio was maybe 50 students, and I think my HHP class, the semester I took it, was maybe 70. I've also had a really small class though too of 5 students. So I feel like that's more realistic of my classes than the couple large ones I've had.
Yeah. The picture that's being shown now, before I transferred here, I used to go to UW Oshkosh. That was the size of every class I pretty much had. It wasn't great because you're just a number really to a professor. And here my largest class was, I actually took it with Drea. It was a gen ed geology class. Pretty big, but didn't feel like it. Otherwise, yeah, probably about 5 to 10 students is what you typically get, and it's really nice.
Awesome. Okay.
So I kind of mentioned the Superior Duluth location before. So kind of going more in depth, we have some great food options. So if you want more of a noodles, Chipotle, Qdoba, Duluth has all of those chain restaurants. But on the Superior side of the bridge, we have more of the mom and pop, small town, really good food. Like Julie's restaurant has a great, I get their French toast, Shorty's Pizza, Anchor Bar and Grill. They're both on diners, drive-ins, and dives. Thirsty Pagan, I know Jordan loves their pizza. Clavi's, China Inn, there's a couple different Chinese restaurants. Sushi, little cafes where you can get coffee. Adventure, so Wisconsin Point, we have Anger Tower, Amnicon Falls. With that picture, those are the Apostle Islands, the sea caves. So we have an outdoor adventures club, and they usually go on a couple trips, I think every month, and that's one of their trips is kayaking. They also have rental equipment that you can use. So if you want to go camping, backpacking, you can rent that through their office. Superior Hiking Trail, different state parks within 60 miles. I think there's 5 different state parks within 60 miles. Other fun things, if you're more of an indoor person, we have the Miller Hill Mall right across the bridge into Duluth. Now Park, if you've ever been into the Duluth area. That's a nice lake walk and shopping right there. Yellowjacket Athletics, go and support the teams. Superior Skydiving, Spirit Mountain, where you can go and ski, snowboard, snow tube, and then different theaters and bowling around the area as well. So our campus ambassadors, I don't know if you each want to go through what your favorite place on campus is and then your favorite place to go off campus.
I'll start. So on campus, my favorite place is probably the YU. They have these like booths that you can do homework in and just like plug in for the whole day. There's an outlet and they're really close to food in case I got hungry. Could go over and get a snack. Off campus, my favorite place, it's probably Leif Erikson Park in Duluth. So my freshman year, I had a really hard time adjusting my first semester. So anytime I got stressed, I would go over there. They have a bunch of rose bushes in that early September, everything's still kind of in bloom. So I'd hang out there. And then if I wanted to, you can kind of cut through this little path almost down to the water. And I would just hang out over there. And it definitely helped with my stress. So that's become my favorite place over the last couple of years.
For me on campus, probably I'd have to say Swenson. I spend about half my time between Swenson and Barstow, but Swenson, there's a lot of places to just kind of chill, relax between classes. And I do a lot of work in there with some other school groups that I'm involved in. And off campus, there's a lot of places that I love. The boardwalk in Duluth, which kind of stretches from Canal Park and goes up the lake a ways. Really, really pretty. Every Sunday I take my dog down there and we always go, well, I don't swim in that lake. Too cold for me. But there, or if you're feeling pretty adventurous, head up to Gooseberry Falls. Definitely recommend if you've never been up the North Shore. That'd be a good spot.
My favorite place is probably Swanson, because that's where mostly I stay, like Miranda does. I never really leave that building because mostly all my education classes are in there. And mostly off campus, because I'm from southern Wisconsin. There's a lot of farmland down here, so there really ain't much forest or anything down here. So like I like going to Bayfield, Ashland area, seeing the lakes and seeing the nice forest areas, roads, rocks. We really don't have that down here at all.
Perfect. Okay. So a lot of questions about living on campus. So I'm just going to jump right into the questions for the ambassadors here. And feel free again to everybody say something, or if you think we're good to go, we'll continue on. So first one, what is it like living on campus? You know, very broad.
I'd say it's definitely different than at home. You don't come home to your mom making dinner every night. I enjoyed it quite a bit. You got a lot of privacy. I had a single room. I did have a roommate, so not sure what the whole roommate situation was like. But it was nice after class, come relax. You definitely kind of got to decide what you want to do because it's really, you're on your own pretty much. And definitely, like I said, different from high school. it can be a little intimidating at first because you got to figure out like what time I need to get myself up, when should I be out the door for classes, when should I shower, because depending on what res hall you live in, sometimes if you wake up at the same time as everybody, you're fighting for a shower. Um, so I think living on campus was pretty great starting out because it kind of made me feel a little bit more secure, especially, being a first generation student. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So a lot of people feel iffy about living on campus because you're kind of away from home, but it's definitely pretty great.
I learned how to become independent. I had a roommate, which my roommate we had been for the last 2 years. I have a single this year, coming year. But with a roommate, like, don't get someone you know, get someone you don't know, because it's like learning where they're from, where they came from. If you have an international student, what they like, how do they learn English, what's their school like, how do they live in their country. It's different. You get to understand each other more, make more connections with each other because you understand, you get to learn more about each other because you feel like have a friend. It's kind of, you're friends and you kind of know each other, but then it's like, do you want to live with each other? That's what mostly a lot of people figure out later on. But mostly it's meeting someone new, figuring out having what their schedule is like, what do you like, are you a night owl, are they a morning bird? You figure out each other's schedule. It's like, just like if you have siblings or like living with your parents, it's like that.
Yeah, pretty much what Miranda and Lexi said. I lived on campus only for my freshman year. After that, I did move off campus because my family just relocated up here, so I saved some money by moving home. I definitely kind of recommend living on campus though. It's a different atmosphere than when you live at home or off campus. You're kind of more inclined to actually do stuff on campus or hang out with your friends. It's a lot easier. So that's kind of probably like the main benefit, especially like freshman year. You make a lot of friends when you live with them and you get to keep those bonds versus like when I moved off campus, I definitely had all those bonds still, but it was a lot harder to go and hang out with my friends on campus, especially if I just wanted to go back home to my room instead of going to the same building where they still lived.
So there was a question if there are kitchens in the halls, and I'll just say flat out, yes. Every hall has a kitchen that you're able to utilize, fridge, oven, all that good stuff. And then question for you all, which maybe you can each give your opinion on this, or just one of you. How often do people go home? So do people go away on weekends every weekend, or is there anything to do on campus in the weekends?
I could say for students who live more than 5 hours away, we don't go home on the weekends. Me and my roommate, she was from Milwaukee, and so when we did go home, I took her home with me because it was easier for her to go home with me than having her parents drive up there. But mostly we only went home for Christmas, the major holidays, Christmas, Easter, spring break. Other than that, we stayed on campus. And mostly the weekend, as I'm a campus pastor, I did tours. I did my homework. I hanged out with my roommates. We went hiking. We went shopping in Duluth. We did stuff. And then there's also stuff on campus like sports, say basketball when basketball season's in, hockey, all that stuff. There's always stuff going around campus and around town, which you can all do and enjoy.
I agree with Lexi. There's almost always something to do. And I only live an hour and a half away from campus, and I never went home. I only went home on like the holidays. But yeah, there's You've got the North Shore, which has a whole bunch of adventures to do. Like she said, sports on campus or activities. And if you have a job, most likely weekends, if you decide to have a job during college, weekends will most likely be kind of your working time. So I guess it just depends if you really want to go home or not.
And then last,
Students did go home.
Yeah.
Sorry.
all good. Love it. Last question for this section. What is one thing you all wish you knew before living in the residence halls?
Bring a fan during the fall. There's no AC in the res halls. There's none. And my freshman year, mostly I'm from Lower Wisconsin, so mostly during probably winter in Lower Wisconsin, it mostly ends beginning of April, March, sometimes March, depending on the year. We'll have 80-degree weather by then. And I went up to Superior thinking none of my family's from the north. So I thought going up north, I heard about it, so it's going to be winter by end of September, by November. Was not. I only brought off like 2 pairs of shorts and 2 short sleeve sweatshirts, and the rest were my winter stuff. So bring more summer stuff because you never know there's a season up north. Superior could be a whole different temperature compared to the rest of Wisconsin. And outside of Superior, it could be snowing in Superior. It'd be not snowing in probably half an hour away from Superior. So Superior is like its own little, I say country with weather. But mostly freshman year, it was just hot, fan, no AC. You need it. The fan is just like your heaven.
What I would recommend is pack less than what you think you need and have duplicates of certain items. So I lived originally about 6 to 7 hours away. So I pretty much packed up all my clothes, everything I needed for like fall through winter, and I didn't have duplicates. So when I went home, I had to pack up a lot of stuff because I wasn't sure what I wanted to bring home. And then I had to make sure that I had like my toothbrush and my shampoo, all those things, versus I wish I had just like bought a spare to either bring with me or leave it at home so I didn't have to worry about all the little pieces. As well as you kind of realize you wear maybe about the same 10-15 items most of the time because you like to be comfy going to class or you're not going out as much as you expected. So you definitely don't need like 40 options. Probably like 10 is a good number to have.
I'm not sure. I think my biggest struggle was when I came here, when I moved into the res hall, didn't even think that I'd have to organize stuff. You'd be surprised that you lose something, you find it at the end of the semester. So I definitely recommend learn how to organize stuff, whether it's your clothes, your shoes, hair ties, whatever. It's a lot harder than you think it is, especially in a much smaller setting.
Clubs and organizations. So we have over 50 different clubs and organizations that you can join while you're on campus. Cheer, dance, barbecue club, just to name a few. So question for our campus ambassadors. Do you participate in any clubs? Do you recommend clubs? What are the benefits of joining clubs in college?
So I participate in several different clubs. The main one I'm active in is Students of Science. So that's the one that would essentially be like for my major. However, you don't have to participate in something based on your major. I've done psych club, criminal justice, student organization, legal studies, just like other ones that my friends are involved in because I want to spend more time with them. And it's fun kind of learning about other people's majors sometimes through their clubs. And then there's just complete fun ones like barbecue clubs listed on there. Though I don't participate, I highly enjoy when they cook out for the student body. I love getting free food on campus personally. So it's a good benefit to kind of participate in things. You meet other people from your majors, or you meet other people with different interests, and sometimes you like those interests and you kind of keep doing those things as well.
I'm in the intramural basketball team. I've been playing all my first 2 years here. I played basketball for my whole life. It's a great way to keep moving, definitely, because it's not like high school. You have a typical gym class that you go to for an hour. And it's just a great way to meet new people. I've met a lot of people just throwing a basketball down the court. I haven't been directly involved in the Students of Science, but I have been in the science fair that we do every year. Got to meet a lot of people and some of the crazy, amazing things that they come up with. So, like Drea said, it's a great way to just kind of meet new friends, get involved. Definitely keeps you out of your room.
I have been in Res Hall Association, and they mostly do a lot of activities in the Res Hall, so you're not bored on the weekends. Get out of your Res Hall dorm, do stuff, hang out with other people, meet new people on your floor. And I have also been part of the World Student Association because I have a lot of international students from high school I have friends with. So I like meeting more students from our school. So being our school having a high international student rate, meeting new students, international students, making friends with them, hanging out what they do, what they like, being interested in the same thing. It's really fun.
Wonderful. Okay, so other ways to be involved on campus, we do have fine and performing arts, choir, band, theater. We have a steel drum ensemble as well. One thing I want to point out with these, you do not have to major or minor in any of these areas to participate. We've had individuals who are computer science majors that are in the choir, or social work majors who are the lead in the fall play. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Are any of you three in any of these? Lexi, which go? Yeah, what are you in? Talk about it real quick.
I'm in the band. I've been playing my instrument since I was in 5th grade. And for band, I don't know about this coming year. Our band, my band, Dr. Bruce Bill, she just retired this spring term. So I don't know about our new teacher yet, professor, but before she retired, you just had to add a class or you could just walk in. It didn't really care what instrument you played. We had 12 flutes compared to the rest of the band. So a lot of us are playing low parts, but we just play a lot of things, have fun. You meet band majors, make friends with them. You don't have to be, like she said, you don't have to be majoring in it. You just want to keep on your skills on your instrument. It's really, really fun. We also, about a year ago, I went on a trip to Estonia and Latvia with the band, and we got to tour around and perform for families and students over there. And we also got to perform with some of their music majors over there. So it was really fun getting to know their country, their music, because they're a big music country over there. So it's fun learning more about their stuff. And for chorus, you don't have to be majoring either. You can just go in there, sing, have fun. I have a lot of friends who are in there too. And all of the music professors, they're all nice. They don't care. They're really, really fun. I know mostly all the music majors and professors, and they're like a second family to me. We're all just one big happy family.
That's great to point out too that so Lexi said that they went on a trip. So the choir and band actually rotate which group goes on an international tour. So the choir has gone to China and other places, but then the band will go someplace. So if you choose to be in one of those larger ensembles, you do have that option of a short-term study abroad tour, which is pretty awesome to have that opportunity.
And then athletics. So we have 19 different varsity sports on campus for Division III athletics. We're part of the UMAC conference for all of our sports except for hockey, and they're part of the WIAC conference. We also have intramurals, and we have the Wellness Center. Using the Wellness Center is included in your tuition, and they have free Zumba classes, dance classes, exercise equipment. There's an indoor track, basketball courts. Have any of you participated in athletics at all? Miranda?
Yeah, I wasn't on the actual school's division team. I do intramural basketball. Honestly, it's pretty similar to the typical division teams. I enjoy it so much. After graduating high school, I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to play again. We have a lot of fun. We even sometimes will join in on a few other clubs, or we tried volleyball. That's always fun. We do have games, just like you would a typical division game. A lot of people actually come to the intramural sports. More laid back, but it's pretty exciting. Definitely say, come watch me sometime. Just kidding. And also, there's just so many great people. I've met a lot of people who are actually from other parts of the world. So it's really neat to see their view on a few sports that we played together and how different it actually is. And again, how similar it is. And gosh, I've made so many friends from people in other countries just by passing the ball back and forth. So it's definitely pretty neat.
Yeah, and do you guys ever go to any of the games on campus, any of the varsity games?
We do. We go to most of the basketball games to the best of our ability. I do go watch a lot of UMD hockey games. I do recommend, since we have a great hockey team, but at least go watch one UMD hockey game across the bridge. Volleyball is also great to watch. We do spend a lot of time at a lot of the sports supporting them and getting to kind of know a few more people.
Studying away. So we call it study away on our campus for one reason mainly, and it's because you can study abroad internationally. So these are the programs that we have a direct relationship with. But if there is a country you want to go to that isn't listed there, then you can work with our study away office to find a program that's connected to that country. And we can reach anywhere the UW system reaches. So for example, a student wanted to go to Fiji and study saltwater fish. We don't have a Fiji program listed here, but another UW campus did, so they were able to connect and go that way. Also, we have short-term trips, like Lexi was saying, she went to Estonia, right? Estonia, was it? Yes. So, but yeah. That's usually like a 2-week trip. We have those short-term trips. We also have semester-long and year-long. So you can find a length that fits for you. You know, you don't have to commit to a full year or a full semester. We can find a program that fits for you. We also have National Student Exchange, which is where maybe you want to get away, but you don't want to go internationally. So you're able to study within the United States or Canada. We have a connection with about 200 colleges and universities in the United States and Canada, where you can go to either just get away, maybe you want to check out the East Coast or Canada, but also maybe you want to get some supplemental coursework. One of our students did this a while ago, took some courses out in California because, again, more of the aquatic fishery stuff. We're not close to an ocean, so took some courses out there, still graduated with us for 4 years, and she actually trains dolphins for the Navy right now. So that's super cool. And yeah, I don't know what she trains them for because it's classified, but it's super cool that those options are out there. And that's one thing that I like to point out too, that really helps you understand and see that we're a small campus, but we utilize our resources and we get you what you need and we get you where you need to go, which I'd say we do really well. I am obviously biased, but that's okay. So.
So tuition and fees. It's about $8,100 for the entire year for Wisconsin residents, and then we do have Minnesota reciprocity, which is an agreement between the two states where you're going to be paying about the same as a Wisconsin resident. Room and meals varies, but it's usually around $6,200. So about $16,000 to $17,000 a year for your housing, meals, tuition, books. So it's very affordable. And then we also have scholarships. So if you're going to be a senior this year and you want to apply for scholarships, we have a deadline of December 1st for the scholarship application. We give away around $100,000 in scholarships every year.
Yes, and so with that too, looking at the application process, very similar across the board, applying online. Oh, I didn't change that. Our application fee is actually $25. So that's awesome. But drum roll in your head, for the month of August, we are covering the application fee for any students that are applying. So if you're applying for fall 2021 and you get your application in August, so right now, we will cover that for you. And that's like 5 pizzas from Little Caesars if you want to put that into, a mind frame. So that's a lot of pizza. You can tell where my mind's at. So at that, and then your high school transcripts. And for ACT scores and SAT scores, we are test optional for fall 2021, so you are not required to submit those. If you do submit them, they will not harm you at all. They would only help us see more academically. It would not hinder you. So that's one thing we also want to point out, that you are welcome to submit them, but they're not required, and they will not harm the decision making for us. So yeah. So with that, we have a last couple of wrap-up questions for our students. So, what?
Before we wrap up, if anybody listening has any last-minute questions, feel free to mute yourself. You can also type in the chat box. Give it a couple minutes.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you, because totally forgot that, right? So while students are kind of thinking, maybe some questions they might want to ask. So what should you expect from your first year of college?
A lot of different things. It really depends on you as a person. Each person has a different experience. Freshman year, sometimes you have a different experience every year. That could be good or bad, depending on what's going on in your life and how you're doing in school. For me personally, my first year, I would say it was okay. I had a lot of ups and downs. It was the first time I was away from home. I lived far away. I didn't have the option to go home when I was homesick. I was forced to be at school. I was definitely a little lucky that I went to the same school as my sister, and I made a lot of friends, and that definitely helped with my transition, especially when I was in those low periods. I also formed a really good bond with one of my professors. So first semester went by a lot easier than my second semester. Second semester, I was struggling with Gen Bio 2. There was just moments where I didn't get it, and I had some personal things going on. And that teacher, he really understood. I could sit in that class and make a face.
he knew when I was upset and something was going on, or when I didn't understand something. And I never had to bring it up. He would always bring it up during the end of class, usually when I was making a certain face or I looked like something was bothering me. And it worked out even well for me too, because he ended up being my advisor when I reached junior status. So I was able to form really good bonds that have lasted over the last couple of years and have eased kind of my college experience.
Any additions to that? Pretty good.
I agree with
Go for it.
I agree with Drea. A lot of your professors that you will get to know, you become friends with them. They'll understand you if you have any issues, have any questions regarding their class, personally yourself. A lot of professors will like say, I had this past spring term, I had one of my fall term teachers email me saying congratulations to me because I made the dean's list. And most of us, like high school, some teachers forget about you. And that's in my head. I'm so used to my teachers forgetting me that it was kind of surprising. And it was really nice getting an email from her congratulating me. A lot of professors, they're there, they're helpful. They have their own families, and at school, they see us as families as well.
Okay, and then I want to know, for students entering their senior year, what is one piece of advice that you would want to give them entering their senior year, finalizing that college search? Think about yourself in that moment of time. What's one thing you want to bestow upon them?
Keep in contact with your hometown friends. I live 5 hours away. I'm mostly just going to college. Most of my year, I'm up here in Superior. Well, not here now. Mostly I'm up in Superior. So that first year, it was kind of hard keeping in contact with my friends. What's being different, I had two of my friends going to technical college. So they kind of knew what I was feeling when we went to school. And then now with them out, it's more, I'm still in school. A lot of my friends are doing their jobs, out working, and just having your contact back home makes you feel less homesick for me, because it was nice talking to them what was happening in hometown, them asking what I was going through up in Superior, the weather, totally different weather. They had a winter storm down there when Superior didn't have one, so seeing them get their snow the first time. So that was fun, keeping up contact with your friends and just getting to know, have just your past self still with you helps.
I'd say don't be afraid to change your mind. I know when I was getting ready to apply to colleges, a lot of my teachers in high school were like, you need to pick a major, you gotta do this, do this, do this. And honestly, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no plan. I just knew I was gonna go to college. And then once I got here, I kind of figured it out on my own without any outside input. Like I transferred colleges. I have made a lot of last minute decisions because it's really all about you. So don't feel like you need to stick to a certain path or stick to the major you chose your freshman year of high school. Just go ahead. If you want to change it 5 times, I've seen a lot of people do it and they make it out wonderfully.
Definitely what Miranda said. Don't be afraid if you change your mind about something. I started off as a pre-med major and definitely not what I'm doing right now. As well as far as still being in high school, because I can definitely say this because I probably had one of the worst cases of senioritis in my grade. Don't give up. I know when you're like ready to go to college, you're kind of just like, I'm done with high school, like I want to go to the next thing. But that last year can definitely make a difference sometimes, especially scholarships. I definitely let my grades go senior year, and that could have made a difference. I made up for it when I got to college, and I've been on scholarships since, but it could have been different freshman year.
Thank you. Is there any last questions from anyone joining us today? If not, you can reach out to us anytime and we'd be happy to answer any questions. If you haven't been up onto campus, be happy to have you. Yeah, thank you to our campus ambassadors for joining us today as well.
Yes, thank you all. So that concludes this. I'm going to stop recording.